the color finders. Guess what? Mr. Salt asked Blue and Magenta. We're all going to the color fair this afternoon. Hooray! Blue and Magenta shouted. We want to make a surprise to take with us, Mrs. Pepper said. Will you help us find everything we need? Sure, Blue said. We'd like to help. We need lots of different colors for the surprise, explained Mrs. Pepper. We can be the color finders, Magenta said excitedly. Wonderful, Mr. Salt said. The first item on our list is red, and it should also be round and crunchy. Let's check the backyard, Blue suggested. We are looking for something red, round, and crunchy, Magenta told Shovel and Pail. I'm red and round, said Pail. Yes, Blue agreed, but you aren't crunchy. Maybe what you want is around here somewhere, suggested Shovel. Everyone peered around the yard. I see it, cried Magenta. We found some apples. They're red, round, and crunchy, Magenta told Mr. Salt and Mrs. Pepper. Magnifique, said Mrs. Pepper, clapping her hands together. Now we need something that is blue, round, and small, said Mr. Salt. Let's try the garden, Blue suggested. On their way to the garden, Blue and Magenta saw Periwinkle playing in his yard. We're the color finders, Magenta told Periwinkle. We're looking for something blue, round, and small, Blue explained. Your bowl is blue and round, Periwinkle pointed out, but it's big, not small, Magenta giggled. Suddenly Blue shouted, I found it! Did you? Here are some blueberries. They're blue, round, and small, Blue told Mr. Salt and Mrs. Pepper. Merci, sang Mrs. Pepper. Something yellow is next. It's also long and needs to be peeled. We have to think about this, Blue said. The color finders sat in the thinking chair and thought about yellow things. There are lots of yellow things in here, Side Table Drawer piped up. Yes, Blue agreed, but it should also be long, and it needs to be peeled. Magenta hopped off the chair with a gleeful shout. I know what it is! Here are some bananas, Magenta said to Mr. Salt and Mrs. Pepper. They're yellow and long, and they need to be peeled. Wonderful, said Mrs. Pepper. We could also use something that is purple, round, and comes in bunches, Mr. Salt said. Let's look in the front yard, Blue suggested. Periwinkle was collecting bugs on the front path. Hi, are you still the color finders? He asked. Yes, Magenta said. Have you seen something purple and round that comes in bunches? I have something that's perfect, grinned Periwinkle. Oh, you're right, Periwinkle, Blue said. Here are some grapes. They're purple, round, and they come in bunches, Blue told Mr. Salt and Mrs. Pepper. These are perfect for the surprise, cheered Mr. Salt, but we still need a few more colors. Can you find something that is green, sweet, and bigger on the bottom than it is on the top? Asked Mrs. Pepper. This hat is green and bigger on the bottom than it is on the top, Magenta told Blue. But it's not sweet, laughed Blue. Suddenly Mailbox appeared in the window. The mail's here, he called out. Thanks, Mailbox, Magenta said. Oh, I think I found the answer, Blue. Here are some pears, Magenta announced. They are green, sweet, and bigger on the bottom than they are on the top. Magnifique, said Mrs. Pepper. There is just one more color on the list. We need something that is orange, said Mr. Salt. And round and juicy, added Mrs. Pepper. The color finders looked around. I already see it, Blue shouted. Do you? Blue raced across the kitchen with Magenta right behind her. Grandma Cyan was giving Paprika Cinnamon their lunch. Paprika was eating something orange, round, and juicy. Hi, Paprika, said to Blue and Magenta. Paprika said to Blue and Magenta. Do you want an orange? The color finders nodded and smiled. Merci, Mrs. Pepper said. You found apples, blueberries, bananas, grapes, pears, and oranges. Now we are ready to make our surprises for the color fair, Mr. Salt said excitedly. What could it be? Magenta whispered to Blue. It's time for the surprise, Mr. Salt announced at the fair. Voila, said Mrs. Pepper, uncovering a large bowl of fruit salad. Wow, Blue exclaimed. That's made with all the colorful things we found. Mrs. Pepper nodded and smiled. We could not have made this colorful surprise without the help of the color finders. Bye-bye. Blue's Clues ABCs. Blue and her friends are glad you came. They're ready to play an alphabet game. Will you play along and help them see things that start with each letter from A to Z? In Blue's backyard is an apple tree. Blue picks some apples, 1, 2, 3. Hello, hello, Mrs. Pepper cries, I'll put those in my apple pies. Baby Bear calls, Blue, come and look at the picture in my big bee book. There are birds, a boat, and bubbles too. I see a bumblebee, says Blue. Cookies, chocolates, and yummy cupcakes are some of the goodies Mr. Salt makes. Blue colors with crayons in a coloring book. Then she sips hot cocoa in the breakfast nook. Shovel likes to dig sand way down deep. Pail piles it up in a great big heap. They make a dragon, a deer, and a duck. Then dump the rest in a red dump truck. Mr. Salt puts eggs in things he likes to bake. He's using 8 eggs in this birthday cake. He has the eggs ready. Can you see what else he needs for his recipe? The felt friends like to play a game and flip and flop inside their frame. Fred and Fran make circles and a square. What other shapes can you find there? Magenta loves her glasses. They help her see. She gazes at a goose and a bright green tree. A ghost starts to giggle and then says boo. Magenta says, Green puppy, I know it's you. Blue skidoos to a farm. A horse and a hen tell her, We're happy to see you again. Blue wears a hat and helps rake with a hoe, then hops in the hay before it's time to go. Icy cold ice cream is sweet to eat. It's Blue and Periwinkle's favorite treat. And an ice cream cone or in a cup. The two friends love to eat it up. Blue likes to jam on her jelly jar drums. She plays jazzy rhythms when Magenta hums. Periwinkle comes along and joins his friends. They all jump for joy until the music ends. Orange Kitten and Blue fly a king-size kite. The key is to keep the string good and tight. Magenta kicks a ball to Purple Kangaroo and plays him a song on her new kazoo. Blue gets letters when it's rainy or sunny. They're delivered by mailbox, who's very funny. He makes her laugh and often sings when leaving all the mail he brings. Miss Marigold teaches Magenta and Blue. They love Miss Marigold and learning too. Will it be math, music, or maps today? Maybe all 3, Magenta and Blue say. Blue and Green Puppy take a nature hike. They walk through the forest whenever they like. They meet a little squirrel with a nut in a tree, and 9 birds in a nest singing happily. Slippery so often has an odd notion. He imagines his bathtub is really the ocean. He plays with his octopus, rows with his oars, and dreams of adventures on faraway shores. Periwinkle writes to his pen pal Plum, I have plenty of friends and hope you'll come to visit me here again someday. I can't wait to see you. Please come and play. Blue loves to ask questions so she can find out what the world is around her is all about. She quietly thinks in a thinking chair and comes up with answers while sitting there. The rain comes down and drips and drops. It rains and never stops. But Blue and Green Puppy don't complain. They wear red rubber boots in the rain. Side Table Drawer really loves to sing. She sings songs about everything. The handy-dandy notebook can be found, snug at Side Table Drawer, all safe and sound. Tickety-Tock rings her bells and then helps Blue practice counting 1 to 10. When they get to 10, it's time for bed. Blue sleeps and numbers twirl in her head. Periwinkle says, let's tidy up, Blue. Underneath the washer he finds a shoe. Blue finds an umbrella and says, I know. This is where the umbrellas go. Blue loves giving presents on Valentine's Day. She can't wait to give her Valentines away. She gives them to friends and never forgets Mrs. Pepper's vase of pretty violets. Blue loves winter when the thick wet snow swirls around her while the cold winds blow. She thinks it's pretty, so soft and white and perfect for a snowball fight. X is a letter Blue likes a lot. Can you see where X marks the spot? If you look closely, you will see 4 letter X's easily. Yippee! Yellow Kitten says to Blue. I have a yellow yo-yo to share with you. Let's eat yummy yogurt, then go out to play. I'll show you the trick I learned yesterday. Zoe, says Blue, we made it to Z. We zipped and zoomed past A, B, and C. There isn't one letter that we had to skip. How many are left? 0, zilch, zip. Can you find all the letters one last time? Thanks for helping us. That's the end of our rhyme. Bye-bye. Blue's Backyard Mystery. One beautiful day, Blue and her friends Magenta and Periwinkle were enjoying a picnic in Blue's backyard. They had a whole afternoon ahead of them. Hey, I have an idea. Let's play the cloud game, Blue suggested. They all lay on their backs and looked up at the sky. I see a boat, said Blue. I see a dinosaur, said Magenta. I see a banana, Periwinkle giggled. Then Periwinkle decided that all this cloud watching was making him hungry again, so he said, let's get back to our Peri-perfect picnic. That's when they noticed something was missing. Hey, the strawberries are gone, Periwinkle exclaimed. Where can they be? Asked Magenta. Look, Blue shouted. Footprints. Blue jumped up. I know what we can do. She ran into the house and returned with a magnifying glass. Let's follow the tracks, she suggested. Good idea, said Periwinkle. I bet they'll lead us to the strawberries. We'll be the backyard detectives, Magenta said excitedly. So the backyard detectives set off through the beautiful day in search of the missing strawberries. Suddenly, Blue stopped short. Then she giggled. I thought I saw a strawberry, she told her friends. It's a flower, said Magenta. Wow, look at all the dandelions, Periwinkle smiled. I have an idea. Periwinkle wove a string of dandelions into a crown. Magenta made a necklace. What are you going to make, Blue? They asked. Blue thought for a moment. I know, I'll make a backyard detective badge. After Blue finished, Periwinkle said, Lead the way, Detective Blue. Hey guys, Blue exclaimed. Somebody dropped a piece of strawberry. And look, who found it? Said Magenta, peering through the magnifying glass. Wow, cool, exclaimed Periwinkle. Ants. They're carrying seeds too, Blue said. Maybe whoever took the strawberries likes seeds. So the backyard detectives set off through the beautiful day in search of the missing strawberries. Along the way they found ladybugs. Their footprints don't look like the ones we're following, Magenta said. They found frogs. They don't eat seeds, Blue said. And they found a praying mantis. I don't think he can carry a strawberry, Periwinkle said. The tracks crossed the sand table. Want to play? Pale asked. Sorry, we can't, Blue explained. We're searching for missing strawberries. I saw who took the strawberries, Shovel squealed. I'll give you a hint. He drew a picture in the sand. An acorn, Magenta said thoughtfully. Oh, I know who it might be. So the backyard detectives set off through the beautiful day in search of the missing strawberries. Suddenly they spotted a second set of tracks. Periwinkle peered through the magnifying glass. He wondered. Could these lead us to the strawberries? I don't think no, Blue replied. They look different from the other footprints. I see why, Magenta laughed. Hi, Tickety, Periwinkle called. Have you seen who took our missing strawberries? Tickety shook her head. But I think you're getting close, she said, pointing to another piece of strawberry on the ground. It looks like somebody was getting hungry, Blue said. So the backyard detectives set off through the beautiful day in search of the missing strawberries. The tracks end here, Blue said, standing at the base of the big tree. But who took the strawberries? Magenta asked. The backyard detectives looked left, then they looked right, and finally they looked up. Well, said Blue, we found our answer, the backyard detectives all laughed. Then they set off through the beautiful day in search of another mystery. Bye-bye. Blue's Perfect Present. Mail time, the mail's here, Mailbox sang out. Blue hopped up onto the thinking chair. Hi, Mailbox, she said. Is there any mail for me? There sure is, said Mailbox. There's a pink envelope addressed to you, Blue. I think it might be an invitation. Blue tore open the envelope. Tomorrow is Magenta's birthday. She's having a party, and we're all invited, she said. I bet Magenta will be getting lots of birthday cards in the mail, Mailbox said. He gave a friendly wave with his flag and disappeared out the window. Blue showed the invitation to side table drawer. I want to give Magenta a perfect birthday present, she said. What do you think I should give her? I don't know, Blue, said side table drawer. I'm giving her a special notebook and some crayons, side table drawer continued. I love giving people things they can use. I like presents that I can use, said Blue. Good idea, side table. Outside, Blue found Shovel and Pail building a sandcastle. What are you going to give Magenta for her birthday? Blue asked them. We're giving her some toys for playing in the sand, said Pail. And a toy dinosaur, added Shovel. We think they'll make her smile, they exclaimed together. Blue laughed. I'd like to give Magenta something to make her smile, she said. Next door, Periwinkle was poking under some leaves. Hi, Periwinkle, Blue called. What are you doing? Hi, Blue, Periwinkle answered. I'm looking for sparkly rocks. Why? Asked Blue. They're for Magenta, said Periwinkle. I'm giving her a collection of sparkly rocks for her birthday. That's a great present, said Blue. Magenta loves sparkly stuff. Just then Blue noticed something on the ground. Here's a nice one, she said. Perfect. Thanks, Blue, said Periwinkle. Blue thought for a moment. Maybe I can give Magenta something sparkly too, she said. In the kitchen, Mr. Salt and Mrs. Pepper were making cookies. Are you going to Magenta's birthday party tomorrow? Blue asked them. Oh, yes, said Mr. Salt. Will have such a good time. Yes, said Blue, and I just have to figure out what kind of present to give her. Why don't you make a present for Magenta? Asked Mrs. Pepper. Magnifique, said Mr. Salt. Paprika loves it when we make special cookies for her birthday. That's a nice idea, said Blue. I'd like to make something for Magenta. I just have to decide what to make. Blue kept thinking, and soon it was time for bed. What do you think I should give Magenta for her birthday? Blue asked Slippery Soap as she brushed her teeth. Well, I really like toys I can play with in the bath, said Slippery. What does Magenta really like? She likes lots of things, but I want to give her something really special, said Blue. You'll think of something, Slippery assured her. Just keep thinking about what Magenta likes. What kind of present are you giving Magenta? Blue asked Tickety Tock as she climbed into bed. Tickety thought it over. I think I'll give Magenta a watch, she said. That way she'll always remember it came from me. That's a really good idea, said Blue. I wonder what present would remind Magenta of me. Don't worry, Blue, said Tickety. You'll think of a perfect present. Good night. Blue lay in bed and thought about Magenta's present. I want the present to be useful and sparkly and something that makes Magenta smile, Blue whispered to herself. It should be something I can make myself and something that reminds her of me, and it should be something that's perfect just for her. Blue fell asleep and dreamt about all the things that made Magenta and her special friend. Magenta her special friend. The next morning, Blue woke to the sound of Tickety's bells. It's Magenta's birthday, she thought as she opened her eyes. Suddenly, Blue had a wonderful idea. I just figured out what to give Magenta, she told Tickety Tock. I knew you would, Tickety said. At last, it was time for Magenta's party. Everyone played games, ate cake, and then gathered around Magenta's presents. Magenta opened each one excitedly. Purple Kangaroo gave her a little pink bag for carrying her books. Green Puppy gave her a set of alphabet books. Periwinkle gave her the collection of sparkly rocks. Finally, it was time for Blue's present. Magenta tore away the paper and pulled out a box. I decorated it myself, said Blue. There's a heart. That's a heart. Those are drawings of us, and it says Friends Forever. It's beautiful, Blue, said Magenta, smiling. She touched the soft cotton inside the box. And I can keep my glasses in it. Magenta took off her glasses and gently put them in the box. Now whenever I put my glasses away, I'll think of you, she told Blue. The party was over and it was time to go home. Magenta hugged everyone goodbye. Thank you for all my presents, she told her friends. I loved them all. But Magenta gave Blue an extra special squeeze because Blue had made her such a perfect present. Bye-bye. Blue's Safari Skidoo. What are you doing, Blue? Periwinkle asked as he strolled into Blue's room. I'm making an animal scrapbook, Blue answered. Look, here's a whale. It's the biggest animal in the sea. Neat, said Periwinkle. What's the biggest animal on land? Blue scratched her head. I'm not sure. How can we find out? Asked Periwinkle. Let's talk to some animals, Blue said. Follow me. Quick as a wink, Blue bounded into her scrapbook. Blue Skidoo, you can too, she called. Periwinkle took a deep breath and jumped in after Blue. Blue Skidoo, I can too, he sang as he spun around and around. Periwinkle and Blue landed on a soft, grassy slope. A big gray animal was standing nearby. When he saw them, he ran over, his huge ears flapping with every step. Hi there, the animal called. I'm Baby Elephant. Are you here on a safari? What's a safari? Asked Periwinkle. It's a trip to see animals, Baby Elephant explained. That's just what we want to do, Blue said excitedly. Do you know who the biggest animal on land is? Of course, said Baby Elephant. I can take you to meet him. Great, said Blue. Let's go. Go, 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 that's what I like to hear, purred a big cat as she stepped out of the grass. Who are you? Asked Periwinkle. I'm Cheetah, the cat replied. I'm the fastest animal on earth. Wow, said Blue. I'd love to stay and chat, said Cheetah, but I've got to run. Enjoy your safari. Bye, they called, but Cheetah was already out of sight. They followed Baby Elephant to a forest, where a brightly colored animal stood among the trees. Hi, Mandrill, said Baby Elephant. My friends are here to meet the biggest animal. Well, I'm not the biggest, Mandrill replied, but I do have a very big family. I have 800 aunts, cousins, sisters, and brothers. Wow, that's a big family, said Blue. Enjoy your visit with the biggest animal, Mandrill said, winking at Baby Elephant. Baby Elephant led them to the river. A large animal was rolling happily on the bank, singing to himself. Hello, he called out cheerfully. It's hot out there. Come wallow in the mud to keep cool. We'd love to, Warthog, but my friends are searching for the biggest animal, Baby Elephant explained. You sure have big teeth, Blue said to Warthog. Warthog laughed. Those are tusks. I use them for digging. And someday my tusks will be much bigger than his, Baby Elephant groaned. Yes, yes, Baby Elephant, Warthog said with a smile. Someday. Want to check out the lake? Baby Elephant asked. Sure, said Blue and Periwinkle. Nice to meet you, Warthog. On the lake's surface, a pair of huge eyes blinked. Then a massive head rose from the water. There's a hippopotamus, whispered Baby Elephant. Periwinkle cleared his throat. Excuse me, are you the biggest animal? No, Hippopotamus grunted. Then with a giant yawn, she sank back under the water. Well, that's the biggest mouth you'll see on your safari, Baby Elephant giggled. Don't mind, Hippo, twittered a bird standing nearby. Oh, hello, said Blue. Hey, your beak is shaped like a spoon. That's why they call me Spoonbill, the bird explained. I use it for catching fish. Spoonbill dipped his beak into the lake and came up holding a fish. Nice catch, cheered Periwinkle. Let's head back to the grassland, Baby Elephant suggested. See you, Spoonbill. When they arrived at the grassland, they saw a very tall animal eating leaves off the top of a tree. You must be the biggest animal, Blue shouted up to her. What's your name? I'm Giraffe, the animal replied. I'm not the biggest, but I am the tallest, and I have the longest neck. Well, if you're not the biggest, who is? Asked Periwinkle. Baby Elephant made a trumpeting sound with his trunk. Surprise, he said. I'm the biggest animal. How can you be the biggest? Asked Blue. We met lots of animals bigger than you. Just wait a few years, said Baby Elephant. Then you'll see. That's right, son, said a voice behind him. Periwinkle and Blue looked up. There stood the biggest animal they had seen on their whole safari. So you're the biggest animal, Blue exclaimed. I'm the biggest animal on land, Papa Elephant said with a nod. And someday Baby Elephant will be just as big as I am, Papa Elephant said proudly. Or even bigger, Baby Elephant crowned, tapping his father's trunk gently with his own. What a great safari, said Blue. It was perfect, Periwinkle agreed. Thanks for showing us around, Baby Elephant. Blue looked at Periwinkle. I guess it's time to go home, she said. Blue Skidoo, we can too, they sang as they whirled around and around. Periwinkle and Blue landed back in Blue's bedroom. Blue picked up her scrapbook and carefully pasted in a new picture. Bye-bye, she whispered to the picture. See you around, said Periwinkle. And from the pages of Blue's scrapbook, the biggest animal on land winked back at them. Bye-bye. Blue's Dinosaur Week Countdown. One Friday afternoon, Miss Marigold gathered Blue and her classmates together. Next week is Dinosaur Week. Every day we'll do dinosaur activities. And next Friday there will be a big surprise. Hooray, everyone shouted. On the way out, Blue and her friends were bursting with excitement. I love dinosaurs, cried Periwinkle. I can't wait for Dinosaur Week. I wonder what the surprise will be, Magenta said. I hope it's something big and colorful. I can't wait to find out, Green Puppy added. How long is it until next Friday? Blue thought for a minute. I don't know, she said. A long time, I think. At home, Blue told everyone about Dinosaur Week. And then on Friday, there's going to be a big surprise, she finished. Is Friday a long time away? Next Friday is 1 week away, Mr. Salt said. But how long is that? Blue asked. Let's look at the calendar, Mrs. Pepper suggested. It might help answer your question. Great idea, shouted Blue, running over to the calendar with Tickety. Let's see. I know each box is 1 day, Blue murmured. And all the boxes in a row make 1 week, Tickety chimed in. So how many days are in a week? Blue wondered. 7, Blue and Tickety shouted together. Oi, oi, cheered Mr. Salt. Tomorrow is Saturday. Then there's Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Blue stopped giggling. That sounds like a long time to wait for the surprise. Ah, but there are only 2 days until Dinosaur Week begins, Mr. Salt offered. And if you keep busy, Mrs. Pepper added, time will go by very quickly. The next morning, Blue thought about what Mrs. Pepper had said. I'll have to keep busy to make Friday come quickly, she thought. And that's exactly what she did. All day Saturday and all day Sunday she played and played. But before she knew it, it was the first day of Dinosaur Week. Welcome back from the weekend, Miss Marigold called. Who knows what day of the week it is? Green Puppy raised her hand. I think today is Monday. You're right, Green Puppy, Miss Marigold said. So you can put a dinosaur sticker on the calendar for today. Green Puppy beamed and placed the sticker on the calendar. During circle time, Miss Marigold asked, Who knows how many days there are in a week? Oh, I do, Blue piped up. A week has 7 days. Then Miss Marigold showed the class a puzzle. This puzzle has 7 pieces, 1 piece for each day of the week, she explained. Every day we'll add another piece, and when the puzzle is finished, it will be time for the Friday surprise. Now counting the weekend, Miss Marigold continued, how many puzzle pieces do we need to place in the puzzle today? I know, Purple Kangaroo volunteered. He carefully put 3 pieces in the puzzle. Great job, Miss Marigold said. 1 piece for Saturday, 1 piece for Sunday, and 1 piece for Monday. Green Puppy turned to Blue and whispered, There are lots of pieces left until Friday. The next morning, Blue woke up wondering if it was Friday. She repeated the days of the week, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, then today, she said aloud. It's not Friday yet. At school, when Miss Marigold asked the class what day it was, Blue knew the answer right away. Today is Tuesday, Blue said proudly when Mrs. Marigold called on her. You're right, Miss Marigold smiled. Then she let Blue place a dinosaur sticker on the calendar and fit another piece in the puzzle. At art time, Blue and Green Puppy made dinosaur footprints in clay. I wish today was Friday, Green Puppy said. It's almost Friday, Blue said, pointing to the calendar. Only 3 more days. 3? Green Puppy asked. I'm not sure I can wait that long. Just then Magenta called out, Look, I made a big apatosaurus. They all laughed and roared their best dinosaur roars. Before long, Green Puppy forgot all about waiting for Friday. On Wednesday during story time, Miss Marigold read a book about dinosaurs. When she was done, Periwinkle asked, Is the Friday surprise tomorrow? No, Miss Marigold replied. Tomorrow is Thursday, then Friday is the next day, so the surprise will be here in 2 more days. That still seems a long way away, Periwinkle sighed. Not if you keep busy, Miss Marigold told him. That gave Periwinkle a great idea. Hey, he told his friends excitedly, let's all play dinosaurs after school. All afternoon, Blue and her friends played dinosaurs in her backyard. They hid behind trees and chased each other here and there. They had such a great time that before they knew it, It was Thursday, and Thursday was packed with things to do. At music time, the class sang songs about dinosaurs. At snack time, Miss Marigold gave everyone dinosaur-shaped cookies. Then they all put on a dinosaur play. The day went by so fast that nobody had time to think about Friday. Until they got to school the next day, it was Magenta's turn to do the puzzle. "Look," she shouted, jumping up and down. "That was the last piece. It's a Tyrannosaurus Rex." "It must be Friday," Blue cried. "That's right," Miss Marigold said, "and that means it's time for the surprise. We're going to a dinosaur museum." "Hooray!" everyone cheered. "Dinosaurs lived 65 million years ago," Miss Marigold said when they got to the museum. Blue whispered, "Green puppy, how long is 65 million years?" "I don't know," Blue said, "but a week isn't long at all when there's so much to do." Bye-bye. Magentas Super Sleepover. Magenta was so excited. She was going to her very first sleepover at her friend Blue's house. What will it be like to sleep away from home? She wondered. Magenta packed everything she needed and hurried to Blue's house. Halfway there, she stopped. "Uh-oh," she cried. "I forgot something." Magenta ran back home. "There you are," she said as she picked up her big soft pink blanket. "I can never fall asleep without you." As Magenta knocked on Blue's door, she was excited but also a little nervous about her first sleepover. "I'm so happy you're here," Blue exclaimed. "Let's put on a puppet play. Could we use your blanket for the curtain?" Okay," Magenta said slowly. Blue showed Magenta all of her puppets. "Do you have a princess puppet?" asked Magenta. "I always play the princess." "No," said Blue, "but you could be the unicorn, and I'll be the bunny." "I know," Magenta laughed. "Let's call our play The Bunny and the Unicorn Have a Sleepover." Magenta and Blue put on a play for Mr. Salt, Mrs. Pepper, Cinnamon, and Paprika. When it was almost over, Magenta said, "Then the unicorn fell fast asleep under the moon and stars." Blue quickly added, "The bunny fell asleep too, and she dreamed of all the special things she and the unicorn could do in the morning." The end. The audience clapped and shouted, "Magnifique!" "Time for dinner," said Mr. Salt. Magenta followed Blue into the kitchen. "What's for dinner?" asked Blue. "Pepperoni pizza," said Mrs. Pepper. Magenta didn't know what to do. She wasn't sure if she would like pepperoni pizza. "I usually have plain pizza," Magenta told Blue quietly. "Oh, I love pepperoni." "Give it a try," Blue encouraged. Slowly, Magenta took a small taste of the pizza. It was chewy and salty and delicious, she cried. She ate a big piece. "Would you like some grape juice?" asked Mr. Salt. "Oh, yes," said Magenta. "I love grape juice." But as she reached for a glass, she accidentally knocked it over and, "Oh no," she cried as the grape juice spilt all over her pink blanket. "Don't worry," said Mrs. Pepper. "I'll wash your blanket right away." "I hope I get my blanket back soon," Magenta said softly. "I'm sure it will be clean by the time we go to bed," Blue reassured her friend. After dinner, Blue and Magenta got into their pajamas. "Is it time for your bedtime story?" asked Tickety. "Almost," said Blue. "Let's brush our teeth and then read a book." "Blue," said Magenta. "At home I read a story first, then I brush my teeth." Blue thought for a minute. "I know," she said. "Why don't I brush my teeth before we read the book, and you can brush your teeth after we read the book?" "Great idea," said Magenta. Blue brushed her teeth, and then she and Magenta read a story. When they were finished, Magenta asked, "Do you think Mrs. Pepper will have my blanket clean before we go to bed?" "I'm sure she will," said Blue. After Magenta brushed her teeth, she sat down on the bed. It didn't feel quite like her bed at home. "I wonder if having a sleepover at Blue's house was such a good idea," she thought. "Blue," Magenta said quietly, "I don't think I could go to sleep without my blanket." "I know how you feel," said Blue. "I don't like to sleep without polka dots. Let's tell funny stories until your blanket is ready." Soon, Blue and Magenta were giggling so hard that they didn't hear Mrs. Pepper come into the room. "Here it is, good as new," cried Mrs. Pepper, handing Magenta's clean blanket to her. "Oh, thank you," squealed Magenta, hugging her blanket. "Now I can go to sleep." "Good night," said Mrs. Pepper, turning off the light. "Good night," Blue and Magenta said softly. Magenta covered her bed with her pink blanket. Blue, what if I still can't fall asleep? She asked. Well, what do you do at home to help you go to sleep? Asked Blue. I look at the stars and make lots of wishes, Magenta said. We can do that here too, said Blue. She opened the window shade so they could see the stars in the night sky. Oh, thank you, Blue, said Magenta. The stars here look just like they do at home. Blue and Magenta crawled under the covers. Good night, Magenta, murmured Blue sleepily. Good night, Blue, Magenta whispered. Then Magenta watched the stars twinkle in the sky until she fell fast asleep. Bye-bye. The Sharing Surprise. Blue couldn't wait to get to school. She had something special to share with all her friends and her teacher, Miss Marigold. Good morning, everyone, said Miss Marigold. It's circle time. Who has something special to share with us today? I do, Blue said excitedly. She opened her blue box. Inside were fancy cupcakes. I'm sharing a treat with all of you, Blue said. I put the icing on myself. Thank you, Blue, said Miss Marigold. We'll save these for snack time. Magenta helped Blue put the cupcakes on the snack table. These look delicious, Magenta said, and your box is so pretty. What are you going to do with it when it's empty? Blue thought for a moment. Suddenly she had an idea. I know. Let's make a surprise for Miss Marigold. Then she told Magenta all about her idea. Magenta smiled. That's a great idea, Blue. Let's tell everyone else, too. Blue and Magenta hurried back to the circle. Does anyone else have something to share? Miss Marigold asked. Periwinkle stood up. I used to live in the city, and this is my collection of city things. He walked around the circle showing his friends everything he had brought. When he got to Magenta, she told him all about the surprise. Miss Marigold will love it, Periwinkle said gleefully. Soon it was painting time. While putting on his smock, Periwinkle told Orange Kitten all about the surprise. That's a great idea, Orange Kitten said. Periwinkle decided to paint a picture of a house. He wanted to make it red, his favorite color, but he didn't have red paint. Can I borrow your red paint? He asked Orange Kitten. You sure can. You can share all my paints, said Orange Kitten. Thanks, said Periwinkle. After painting time, there was free playtime. Green Puppy gathered all the blocks and exclaimed, I'm going to build the biggest block tower. Can I share some of your blocks to build a castle? Asked Orange Kitten. Green Puppy didn't know what to do. She needed all the blocks to make the biggest block tower ever. Please? Asked Orange Kitten. Green Puppy slowly handed Orange Kitten some blocks. Do you know what? Asked Orange Kitten. If you build your block tower on top of my house, we can make a great castle. Green Puppy smiled. Oh, I'd like that. Orange Kitten told Green Puppy all about the surprise. I know what I can do to help, Green Puppy said excitedly. It's time to go outside, called Miss Marigold. Purple Kangaroo got to the swing first. Whee, he cried, pumping his legs hard and harder. While they waited for their turns, Green Puppy and Orange Kitten told Purple Kangaroo all about Blue's idea. It will be a big surprise, they all giggled. Purple Kangaroo kept swinging and swinging. Purple Kangaroo, said Orange Kitten, what if Green Puppy and I push you so you can go faster and higher? Then you can push us. Sure, said Purple Kangaroo. That sounds great. Everyone took turns. Soon they all ran in for lunchtime. Magenta had carrot sticks. She knew that someone else loved carrot sticks too. Can I share my carrot sticks with Giggles? She asked. Yes, Miss Marigold answered. Thank you for sharing, Magenta. Giggles nibbled the carrot stick right up. After lunchtime, Blue tried to make a dinosaur out of clay, but it wouldn't stand up. Miss Marigold, can you help me? Asked Blue. Of course, Blue, said Miss Marigold. I'll help you as soon as I'm done helping Green Puppy. Blue knew she had to share Miss Marigold with all her friends. I'll help you, said Purple Kangaroo. Together they made a wonderful dinosaur. Here I am, Miss Marigold said. Do you still need my help? Oh, no, thank you, said Blue, Purple Kangaroo, and I fixed it together. When it was time to clean up, everyone put away their supplies and toys very quickly. Then they gathered around Miss Marigold. Miss Marigold, Blue said, we have a big surprise for you. She handed Miss Marigold the blue box. Miss Marigold opened the box. "It's a sharing box," said Blue. "We filled it with some of the things we shared today," explained Green Puppy. "And now we're sharing them with you," Magenta added. They took turns explaining how every item had been shared. "The taxi is from Periwinkle's collection," Magenta said. "The red paint was Orange Kitten's, but she shared it with me," said Periwinkle. "We found this leaf when we shared the swing seat," asked Purple Kangaroo. "Thank you. I love my sharing box," Miss Marigold told the class. "I'm so glad you found so many different ways to share." Then they all enjoyed Blue's cupcakes and shared lots of laughs until it was time to go home. Bye-bye. Where is Polka Dots? It was the end of a very busy day for Blue and her friends. They had painted pictures, played in the sand table, and put on a puppet show. Now Blue was getting sleepy. "I think it's time to start getting ready for bed," Blue told her friends. "See you tomorrow," she said, waving goodbye. Blue still had lots of things to do before bed. First, she went into the kitchen. "Hello, Blue," said Mr. Salt. "Would you like to have a bedtime snack with us?" "Yes, please," said Blue. Everyone dipped graham crackers in milk. When they were finished, Mrs. Pepper said, "Look, the sun has gone down. It's almost time for bed." "You're right," said Blue. "Thank you for my snack." "Good night, Blue," they all said. Next, Blue went into the bathroom to take a bath. She and Slippery Soap washed and splashed and made lots of bubbles. After the bubble bath, Blue brushed her teeth. Slippery sang a brushing song. "Brush side to side, up and down, brush, 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 brush all around." Blue giggled, but it was hard for her to sing along with toothpaste in her mouth. After they were finished, Blue yawned. Slippery said, "You look sleepy, Blue. It's almost time for bed." Blue stretched and said, "Okay, good night, Slippery." Next, Blue went to the closet to get her pajamas. She chose her favorite pair and put them on just right. Zipper in front, flap in back. Then it was time to read a bedtime story. Blue curled up in the thinking chair with her favorite book. Right in the middle of the story, she began to fall asleep. "I think it really is time for bed now," said Side Table Drawer. "Yes," whispered Blue sleepily. "Good night, Side Table." Tickety Tock was waiting for Blue in the bedroom. Blue climbed into bed and snuggled under the covers. "Good night, Tickety," whispered Blue. "Good night, Blue," Tickety said softly. "Good night, Polka Dots," Blue said, as she reached over to give her favorite stuffed animal a hug. Polka Dots slept right next to Blue every single night, but Polka Dots wasn't there. "Wait a minute," said Blue, sitting up. "Where is Polka Dots?" "Wake up, Tickety," whispered Blue. "Have you seen Polka Dots?" "No, not tonight," Tickety said sleepily. "Where could Polka Dots be?" Blue asked herself. She thought and thought and thought and thought. She tried to recall the last time she had seen Polka Dots. Finally, she had an idea. "I'll try to remember everything I did before bed to find out where I left Polka Dots." What was the last thing I did before I went to bed? Blue tried to remember. "I know, I read a story." Blue ran to the thinking chair, but Polka Dots wasn't there. All she saw was Side Table Drawer, who was fast asleep. "I guess Polka Dots wasn't here when I read my book," whispered Blue. "What did I do before I read my book?" Blue asked herself. "I remember. I put on my pajamas." Blue ran to the closet, but when she looked inside, Polka Dots wasn't there either. "I don't think Polka Dots was with me when I put on my pajamas," Blue sighed. "Let's see," thought Blue. "What did I do before I put on my pajamas? Oh, I brushed my teeth." Blue ran into the bathroom, but when she looked around the sink, there was no Polka Dots. All she saw was Slippery Soap, who was sound asleep and snoring. "So, when I brushed my teeth, Polka Dots wasn't here," Blue said quietly. "What did I do before I brushed my teeth?" Blue thought to herself. "I know. I took a bubble bath." Blue tiptoed up to the bathtub and looked all around. Polka Dots wasn't near the bathtub either. "Polka Dots isn't in the bathroom," said Blue. "Where was I before my bath?" Blue wondered. "I remember. I had a snack." Blue ran into the kitchen as fast as she could. "Are you here, Polka Dots?" she called softly. Blue peeked over the countertop. "There you are," she exclaimed through lots of giggles. Blue had finally found Polka Dots. She reached out quietly to take her back to bed. Then she suddenly stopped. Polka Dots and Cinnamon both looked very comfortable, she thought. Blue was glad to see her friends look so happy. Blue tiptoed back to bed. I know Polka Dots isn't lost, and I know she's sleeping, helping Cinnamon sleep, Blue said to herself. Putting the covers up tight, she smiled, so Polka Dots can sleep with Cinnamon. Just for tonight. Bye-bye.